cabinet, there was this assassination claims that was discounted by the DCI and all. But all these cabinet secretaries still sit for cabinet, right? What is the relationship between the deputy president and the other cabinet secretaries who are mentioned in the assassination plot? If you say it, I mean, you have to be honest with me before you attempt answering this.
No, I'll be honest with you.
Yes.
Okay. You know, I wish Kenyans could understand exactly what we are currently focused on. Really, we do have a country to run, and we do have some very serious challenges. I'll give you, for example, transition, 100% transition of our children from primary school to high school. This is the first time it was achieved this year. We attempted in 2018, we didn't succeed, but in 2019, we succeeded. Let me tell you, Kenya now is the only country in the whole of the African continent that can make that claim. The only country in the whole continent. We have joined the ranks of Southeast Asian countries like Singapore and South Korea, who achieved this way back in 1978, 40 years ago. But because they achieved that in the education sector, that's why we are all using Samsung phones. And in Kenya and Africa, nobody is even able to produce a Mulika Muizi. That achievement is one of the things that we focused our attention to so much in the last several months of cabinet, to the extent that, in fact, ministries were asked to try and see where they had any savings so that we throw it into our education sector. So I'm just giving you that example, that in our cabinet meetings, we are so focused on the business of cabinet, of running this country, of dealing with the big four, for example. I just mentioned to you that this country has one of the worst youth population bulge in the whole world. We had the highest rate of population increase in the 80s and 90s. The chicken have come home to roost. We have hopelessness, joblessness, qualified and qualified youth having absolutely no hope. According to computer simulations by the World Bank, almost 50% will never get a full-time job until they die, unless we address this matter of manufacturing, which is one of the 4 pillars of the president.
Yeah.
Now, people think that the president just decided to choose, oh, okay, fine, let me have 4. And let's choose manufacturing.
And add another 5. Another 5 on
okay,
corruption.
Fine. So,
yes.
so that's how people look at it. But let me tell you, there is no precedent in the history of the world where any country has made the transition from being a poor, backward country with low standards of living for its citizens and become a first world country or a second world country where there is employment of youth without addressing the education sector and manufacturing.
Okay.
So it's not only about the president's legacy. It is what we have to do to survive and to remain viable as a country. So for us to go to cabinet and even start remotely thinking of, oh, I don't know, there was an assassination attempt, accusation somewhere, let me tell you, it has no chance of featuring at all.
That's what you say.
That is what the truth is. Please check with anybody else.
The allegations that there are other cabinet secretaries who have stopped sitting because of a divided cabinet, these are false.
It's false. Absolutely false. Even our cabinet meetings, the full committee of cabinet that we sit at the office of the president under the chairmanship of Matiangi, nobody has ever missed because of any differences. And when we are in that cabinet meeting, we sit, we are mixed, and we execute the matters that we have to execute. We deal with the matters that we have to deal with. We normally emerge out, we come out with a consensus, no voting. If anybody decides that they don't agree, you note what you don't agree, what you don't agree with, what you disagree with.
Okay.
But it has been so smooth that when I see what I read in the papers and I compare with what actually happens in our Tuesday meetings, where we all go at
Tuesday or
7:30.
Thursdays?
It's Tuesday. Tuesday is the subcommittee and Thursday
is the full committee.
Yes.
Okay. So apart from the president and the deputy president, who sits on the large mahogany table, who else has a permanent seat where you must sit here?
You know, Even if I wanted to tell you, I would not tell you the details of how cabinet is constituted and what goes on in
No,
it.
I'm just interested in who has a permanent seat. The president sits right in front. The deputy president sits somewhere. Who else has a permanent seat where they have to sit there? That's what I want to know.
No, we have our name cards.
Okay, a random name card that is posted before you sit.
There's a name card that is posted, but I'm not allowed to divulge
Say who
all
sits where.
details.
The reason why
Yes.
I'm asking this question, SG, is because even the body language, if it was random, the first time the cabinet secretary, say the ones who were mentioned the assassination plot is sitting here, the next time he'll be sitting elsewhere. No. So this does not emerge in cabinet. You telling us absolutely there's no division
There is
in the cabinet.
absolutely no division.
Let's talk about
we cannot even afford it. Let me tell you.
the cabinet.
First of all, the issues that we have to deal with, as I've explained to you, I mean, I've talked about manufacturing. I talked about what we have achieved in the education sector, for example, which Kenyans are not crediting us with. In fact, people talk about the SGR. Let me tell you, the biggest major achievement of this country is that transition into high school. Of course, I've seen I think it was on The Nation, where we're talking about the problems of classrooms and facilities and so forth. But for me and for the whole country, I think the most important thing is to ensure that all our kids go to school. I think, Ken, maybe you may not be aware, but I can tell you that when I went to school the first time, I didn't have a classroom. My first classroom was under a tree. We didn't have pieces of paper and pen and pencil. My first, platform to write on was a soft screen, the soil. All right? So if I didn't go through that, I would not be sitting with you here.
Okay.
So it is very, very important that we support the education sector. What we have achieved there is remarkable, and I'm just giving you that as an example today. What we are going to do as far as manufacturing is concerned, we're coming with the industrial park in Naivasha, which certain aspects of it are going to be launched by October this year. That's a huge development for the country. We're coming up with industrial parks in Mombasa and Ndongo Kundu area.
Yes, right up
we are dealing with the LabSet project, and there are several other major projects that we are dealing with. And that is all we discuss, how we change the station of this country from where it is to a country where at least our youth can have hope.
Okay.
And if there's anything which is concerning this government the most, is hope
for the youth.
For the youth.
All right. I want to talk about the cabinet one more time, but telling me where they sit is not a security question, so you should have just told me.
No,
but,
we sit around the table. We sit around the table. Of course, the president sits next to the deputy president, yeah, and the other cabinet ministers. Okay. We have our name cards, and we sit in front of the name card where your name is placed.
The president can do whatever he wants. It's his prerogative to assign any cabinet secretary responsibilities and duties. How has the fact that Fred Matiangi of Interior assignment as the leader of the cabinet, how has it affected the cabinet and the mood?
Again, this is again one of the reasons why people don't understand how that comes into. I mean, people read things that are not relevant. The Ministry of Internal Security is actually the Ministry of Internal Security and Government Coordination.
Yes,
that's its full name. Now, if you're doing government coordination, then you're the one who can chair the coordination.
It means you understand everything happening in the government?
Not necessarily.
Yes.
But the provincial administration, for example, what used to be called the provincial administration, which is now the internal security and national coordination docket, where you have the county commissioners, all the way up to the chief. It is in every county. It is in every village. Mm-hmm. It touches every village of this country. Right?
Yes.
Now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs does not have any representation at, say, El-Wak.
The county level.
At the county level.
Yes.
All right? Mm-hmm. So, if the Minister for Foreign Affairs, however senior that minister is, was to sit and chair the coordination of all the works of the country, can they do it?
Okay. So what you're essentially telling me
it is it is function. Yeah. It is not the individual.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. What you're telling me, if you were sitting in the Ministry of Interior, you will still do what Fred Matiangi is doing.